So it is now 2 o'clock, officially our starting time. If anybody comes in late, then that is absolutely fine. So in theory, I am recording this, but I've run into problems in the past where I thought I was recording the whole meeting and then no. So it looks like it's recording. I clicked all the buttons. So I'm planning to post this, especially for anybody that wasn't able to be here, especially because this first meeting is so quick. I know that there are going to be a lot of people that aren't able to make it at this time. I would like us to do this kind of meeting once a week, maybe every 2 weeks, mostly so that you guys can do a Q&A with me. So if you're having any trouble with the assignments, we can talk over what's going on, and a lot of it is just to stay in touch, so you guys have a chance to express concerns, and we can discuss the materials. Today, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how the class runs. So first off, even though this is an online class, there are weekly deadlines of things to do. I've got you guys set up to be every Friday night and then every Monday night. That way, while you have the weekend to work on your assignments, if you have questions about it, if you're having trouble, you'll still be able to get a hold of me on Monday before it's due to ask any final questions. I don't usually check email over the weekends, so if you're trying to do something on Saturday and Sunday and you're having trouble, you're not necessarily going to be able to get a hold of me, so you have to wait until Monday. I say wait. Send me the email. As soon as I get into my office on Monday, I'll be looking at those and sending out responses. And I especially appreciate when you guys let me know when things aren't working. I don't know if any of you took classes here before, but they changed Moodle, and it looks really different, and some stuff isn't where it's supposed to be. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm already running into weird problems with the first assignments we're doing this semester. So then you need to keep up with those Monday, Friday deadlines and let me know. Technically, we're not supposed to take late assignments, but I know usually you guys are in an online class because your schedule doesn't always fit well with the college schedule. If things come up, you need an extension, especially if you let me know ahead of time. I can usually work with you to give you a little bit more time. If the whole class is telling me that they're not having enough time to do a particular assignment, I can shift the deadlines on almost everything to work with what you guys are doing. Because sometimes how long I think it should take is not necessarily how long it actually takes. But if you guys don't let me know, I can't make those adjustments. Any questions so far? No.
No.
Okay. I want to do video conferences at least once a week. Might schedule, have 2 different sets of time. I know not everybody's going to be able to do the same time, so I'm going to send out another survey and see if I can find 2 different times to cover the entire group. But if not, then I'll be doing what I'm trying to do now. We'll have a meeting when most people can make it, and then I'll record the meeting and post them for those who aren't available. Just most of it will be a Q&A. And if you guys don't have any questions that day, then we'll wrap up the meeting early. If you have more things to talk about, I'm here practically all afternoon. I was also thinking about setting up something where you can just be in an online chat with me anytime I'm in my office. I feel like, let me double check. I think I added a chat room. Yeah, there's a class hangout chat room in our Moodle class. How do I show it? 2 seconds. Let me share it with you real quick. Here we go. Okay, so here's our Moodle page. Can you guys all see that?
Yes. Yeah.
So up here on the home page, which should appear at the top anytime you guys are in here, is some pertinent information about me. This is the forum where I'm sending emails to you. Here's the syllabus, which you had a link to on the syllabus assignment. And then right here is a chat room. So it's set, I think, because I've never used this thing before, to be open all the time. I'm going to try and go into this chat room anytime I'm in my office online, so that if I'm in my office during my office hours, you guys can hop in and ask me questions I have no idea what I just did, but there you go, Myra. Oh. Neat. Okay. That will come in handy later. Alright. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to send out the survey to figure out when would be a great time. I don't know if this time is good for everybody forever or just this particular week. So the next one I set up is going to be, if we're doing this every single week, what is the best time? And I'll give you the options that work for me. Okay, the plagiarism quiz. If you guys took it, a lot of you may notice that you're getting weird grades and it's telling you you're wrong. I don't know what happened. I guess I set it up wrong, but it's being weird. So I'm going in and changing the grades by hand. So as long as you give me the score you got on the quiz at Pearson, and then you tell me, the ones you got, as long as you're doing that, you should have 100 on that quiz. So far, all of the ones that I've checked pretty much have hundreds. Any questions about that? I know that was startling people.
It is due on Saturday, correct?
I think so. Saturday, Friday. Let me double check. I set all this up, and I'm finding things that I thought were supposed to be due at one time are showing a different time. I've been fighting with Google. Yeah, right now this one it says Saturday, but specifically it's Friday at like 12:30 at night. So and a lot of our assignments will be due Friday night at 11:59, and then I usually include like a half an hour like grace period in case you're trying to submit at the last second and the computer is being wonky. You have a little bit of wiggle room. And again, if you're trying to submit and something goes wrong, send me an email with a screen capture immediately. If I can see that you were trying to submit it on time and something went wrong, take pictures of your phone, and then I can give you an extension. Baby, you have a baby. You guys should all bring your babies to these meetings. Okay. All right. I think, okay, there's only really one more thing that I absolutely wanted to talk to you guys about, and that is, it's a policy that I have that not a lot of other teachers do. So let me show you. I guess that's stupid. You're not really looking at anything if I do that. Okay. Well, let me show it to you real super quick. Okay, so you see this right here? I don't know if you guys noticed in the syllabus, but for your papers, that's the synthesis paper on plagiarism we're doing first, and then the research papers, if those papers are not submitted in proper MLA format, I take off 25 points, which means you would go from, having something like a 94 to suddenly having a 69. So that 25 points that you lose is dramatic. It means the difference between an A and failing a lot of times. But I wanted to explain why I do that and why it matters to me. So I had teachers from elementary school through college telling me that deadlines were vital. My elementary teachers blamed the junior high teachers blamed the high school teachers blamed the college professors, and then the college professors said when you get a real job and you go out into the world that your boss is going to care about deadlines. So you know what? In my entire adult life, I've never once had a boss turn away something they needed from me because it was 5 minutes late. Like, never. One time I was going to be late filing my taxes, and I called them crying because I thought they were going to arrest me. And they gave me a 3-month extension. I needed like 2 more days to finish. And they gave me 3 months. So most deadlines I've had in my entire life, there's wiggle room. Sometimes it's like just an hour, sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's 3 months. But usually deadlines can be kind of negotiated, moved around. If you run into last-minute problems, generally speaking, if someone needs you to be doing something, they still need it if it's 5 minutes late. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the thing nobody told me was going to be an issue was the one thing that has become an issue for me several times over my adult life. And that's basically following directions or having the formatting done correctly. So when I was getting my master's degree, I spent 2 years writing a 330-page document. The longest thing I've ever written in my life. It was terrifying. I had to take it to a committee, and they had to approve it after grilling me on questions of anything I've learned for the whole time I was in grad school. When I finally got done with all of that, it was so stressful. Then I had to submit an application for graduation through the graduate office. And part of that was you give them your thesis, and if it's not formatted, they don't approve you for graduation. And they send it back, and they don't tell you what you did wrong. They just say the formatting's messed up. I got mine back 3 times, but luckily I finally managed to get it fixed right before the graduation deadline, and I got approved. Or I would have had to enroll in classes for another entire semester, pay for those classes, just to keep doing the formatting, because everything else was finished. That was horrifying to me. I knew at least one person who ended up having to wait an entire another semester to graduate because of that. So it was awful. On the other hand, other times I was on committees. Like, one was a grant committee. We were trying to get $50,000 for the school that I worked at, and we were basically writing an essay telling them why we deserved the money. And when we talked to the committee about, the people who would accept the applications, they said, make sure it's formatted right. Because almost every high school in the state of Texas was applying, and any application that they could throw out without reading, they would. There were only 3 people going to read all 500 or something essays. They didn't want to read them all. And they were going to then have to narrow it down to pick which schools actually got the money because there weren't enough grants for everybody. They were looking for anything to toss those out. And the very first easiest thing to do that with was formatting. If you go to any publishing company at all, they have formatting guidelines for submissions. And if you don't do those formatting guidelines, they are not going to publish your book or your short story or your poem or whatever. You have to follow their guidelines. And they're all different. They are not the same. So many times in my life, I've run into circumstances where if I couldn't follow the directions and do things the way they wanted them done, I was not going to get what I needed or wanted, and I was going to get stuck. So MLA isn't really important to me. I use it all the time, but I know the average person, after you take your English classes in college, you may never see it again. You may need other things like science classes, history classes. They use APA, not MLA. And when I was in the publishing industry, working for a publishing company, we used the Chicago Manual of Style, not APA or MLA. So it's not necessarily important that you memorize MLA format. What is important is if you have a boss telling you, I need this report and I need it done this way, you were able to follow their directions exactly and give them what they're asking for. There are a lot of jobs like nursing. If you write an incident report on a crash cart, you have to exactly describe what happened, and you have to submit those forms properly, or the hospital can get sued, or you can lose your job. Police officers doing similar things, writing reports up about something that happened, that goes to the courthouse, and if it's not done properly, criminals can get off because the paperwork wasn't filed right. I don't know if any of you ever know anything about the O.J. Simpson trial, so that's what happened. He murdered his wife and her lover, and he didn't go to jail for murder because the police officers did not file paperwork correctly. You don't necessarily need MLA. You need to be able to follow directions. I don't expect my students to be perfect. I don't expect your writing to be perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. You can pick any single book off the shelf anywhere, and you are going to find mistakes. Every published book. And that was the author looked at that, and usually their family and friends and a writer's group, and then all the editors at the publishing company, and sometimes their agents. You're talking about dozens of people who looked over those manuscripts and still missed mistakes. That's just the way writing is. It's never perfect, no matter how good you are. So I'm not ever going to hold you guys to a standard of perfection on your writing. I want you to improve over the semester, and I want you to sound professional. I want to help you so that your writing in the future is going to be productive for what you need to do. But I'm not expecting you to be, like, magically perfect. I'm not. I wrote a letter to you guys, like, earlier this week, and there were like 12 mistakes in it when I went and put it through the spell check, and I'm not even sure that I caught all the mistakes. So, no, I'm not going to hold you to a crazy standard. But what you can be perfect at, turning in papers in Times New Roman, it can be weird, and programs online like Word or Google Docs can be weird to work with. That takes some practice. But you can make your font Times New Roman. You can make sure that it's black and not gray. You can double space it. All of those kinds of things, they're not impossible to get right. Do you understand?
Yes.
So because I think it's so important that you're able to follow directions and you pay attention to that kind of thing, and I promise, it's a pain. It's a lot of little nitpicky details. It takes learning the program. But I think it's achievable. Okay? So I'm going to require you to have the formatting right. I have like 2 hours worth of videos on how to do the formatting, and I'm planning to have video conferences here where I walk you through the formatting as well. You can send me your papers, and I can check the formatting for you before the essays are due. I will bend over backwards to help you get them right, but I expect you to put that work in to get them correct.
The MLA style that we're going to be using is going to be MLA 8?
It's MLA 8 with a few modifications so that I can tell if you're just following MLA or if you're paying attention to my directions.
Okay.
Do you want to see one real quick? What does it look like?
Yeah.
Let me show you an example.
If we send you the format and it's graded, would you give us feedback?
It takes a long time to point out every single little problem. So what I will do is, like on the first paper, I'll try to give you guys comments on every mistake and send it back to you. And I'll give you an extra credit chance to fix it and get those points back. But if you really want to know what's wrong and how to fix it, it's easiest if you'll schedule a meeting with me and we can do this and I can show you step by step everything that went wrong in the paper.
Okay.
Okay. This paper has my husband's name on it, so that like, I'm not showing you a student's name, just so you know. Alright, where is the share? Share, and I want you. Okay, can you guys see the paper now?
Yes.
Is it too small?
A little bit, yeah.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. It's a little too big. See it a little bit better?
Good.
Alright, I want you to do this. So, for standard MLA, there's things like up here at the top, you just have your last name and your page number. And then this right here is supposed to be left aligned and double spaced. And then this right here is supposed to be straight. So this would be what a normal MLA paper would look like. But what I want is, I want this to only appear on the other pages. So we use this different first page. So on the page 1 it's not there, but on page 2 it is. On page 3 it is. See? And then I want the heading single space and right align. And then I'm putting on show hide. So this lets you see like the blank spaces. Like, do you see how there are dots in between the words?
Mm-hmm.
That's a space bar. Like if I hit the space bar, I get those dots. If I hit the tab key, I get this weird little arrow. And when I hit the enter key, I get this little backwards paragraph mark. So between the heading and the paper, I want 5 double-spaced lines, blank lines, so that this starts roughly a third of the way down the page. And so your paper ends up looking like this. There's this big gap before the paper starts. It's one of the reasons why I don't assign essays based on page count. I do word count. Because I can make the paper bigger, but I don't think I can make this bigger. Do you guys see that? Does that help at all? I can't make it bigger.
No, we can't see that.
Yeah, I'll have to do a video for you guys later to show you, because I can zoom in when I make a video using a different program. Because when you do word count, you only count the words of the actual paper. You're not going to use the words from the works cited or the annotated bibliography. And I'll talk to you, there are lessons on what a works cited is, what an annotated bibliography is. Essentially, this is your bibliography entry with a summary of the article and then a response to what you saw out of the article. And we'll be doing that soon. As we read these plagiarism articles, we're going to be taking notes and making an annotated bibliography. You guys can get comfortable doing this. Okay, so the only thing that's different is these 3 things: the page number thing, the heading, and then this gap. Everything else on this is standard MLA. I know it looks really weird, but as we work on it, it'll start to get more comfortable to you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Okay, so that covers all of the things that I really wanted to make sure you guys knew about. Do you have any questions for me? Is there anything else that I can help you with before we finish this up?
Miss, I do have a question about the new update for Moodle.
Hold on 1 second. Say that again?
The new update for Moodle, is there any way we could change that? Or is that the new update?
If I remember correctly, there was a change in the company's own Moodle, and so the old one that we had is just no longer available to us. We're just stuck with this new one. I know it's gonna take some getting used to. If you have any questions about it, maybe I could show you how it works.
Well, I'm able to log in to Moodle, but I thought the update was just my laptop, the wrong update or something.
No, it's
I was comfortable with it last semester.
Yeah, I liked it too, but they didn't ask. When the company changed, they just didn't give us the option to use that other style. I'm sorry. Does everybody understand what you're doing for the personal instruction?
Where do you keep that? In the Moodle.
What was that? I didn't hear that. Ryan, you trying to ask a question?
Oh, no, that was me.
Okay.
Like, how do you see the assignments in Moodle? Because I have not difficulty, but like I can see the quizzes and everything else, but I can't see like what we have like going on later.
Oh, right now, I've got all of that closed down. I usually open it a week at a time. I could open it 2 weeks at a time if that would make you happy. I just don't want anybody getting lost and losing track of where we're supposed to be.
And that comes out like in the calendar section? Like what we're doing this week?
It should. Theoretically.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know just in case.
Except sometimes,
I just so lost that.
yeah, no, sometimes the forums that we do don't show up on the calendar. So like the personal introduction, I don't know that is on the calendar. And I don't know I don't know if there's a way to make it on the calendar. But yeah, like.
Where's that at?
Okay,
The personal introduction.
Let me show you. Let me show you.
Okay.
There. Okay, so here's the little page. If you're in week 1, like if you actually click on week 1 and go through it, there's a syllabus quiz, the personal introduction forum, and then the Pearson quiz. The quizzes both show up on the calendar, but they don't. This forum does. So you have to click on the forum, and you're going to add a discussion with your personal introduction. So if you click on this, it gives you the directions. But essentially, it's an introducing yourself to your classmates, let them know a little bit about yourself, and then I'll set you a not a partner. I'll assign you guys. Oh no, I don't assign anything. Sorry, I'm confused with what we're going to do later. Where for part 2, you're going to go through and read through what your classmates said, and at least 2 people you need to reply to, and then there's a list here of the kinds of things that you should be talking about in your reply. And essentially, it's a getting to know you section. This is for a grade, so you need to put your introduction by Friday night, and then by Monday night, you need to have replied to 2 classmates.
And when we upload it, are we going to be able to see our classmates respond?
Yes.
So we just hit randomly.
You should be able to see all of them, and you should be able to go through them one by one. Here's the form that I'm doing notes. Like, this is where I send you guys information. So you see how you can see individual ones? You can, if you click on one, you can then read what I said. And you see how over here it says mandatory video conference? So that will take you to the next post, which is the one that I sent out here today about how to meet in this meeting room. So you can go back and forth, and you can scroll through one at a time reading them, and then you can always up here go back to the forum front page and look at any you haven't seen, and it'll tell you like which ones. I think it'll tell you which ones you've read and not, and which ones have replies on them. I've honestly never seen it from your end. Was that helpful at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So right now I have the additional weeks, like completely hidden. Not all the details in there are completely accurate. I have to make sure the deadlines are right and stuff, so I don't want you getting confused or trying to work ahead for something that's going to change. But would it make you feel better if you could see that it was there?
No, I was just asking because of the new format. So,
Okay.
Oh, the swap.
I have them hidden and invisible, but I can make them hidden, but you can see that they're there. I don't know if that makes any sense. Do you want me to show you what it looks like? So right now, this is what you should see. You should see the page, week 1, and then the resources, which this is a lot of the stuff that we'll use. Like here's the format and stuff. So that's all you should be able to see right now. But I can also change it right here. So you'll see it like this. I don't know, does that would make you guys happier? Was that a yes or a no?
Yes. No.
I had 1 no and 2 yeses. Do you want me to I can send a survey? We can vote.
Be better.
The survey or?
I mean, it kind of helps, but I get the point where you don't want us to
Well, with this,
get irrelevant.
you still can't go in and do something that's a change, but you can just see that these are the weeks of what we're doing kind of in general.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, here's the 4 weeks we're working on this paper. Here are the 4 weeks we're working on that paper. Everybody's telling me the meeting should be over. That's what I think.
I don't know.
Miss, I know this conference was mandatory, but is it for a grade as well?
No. My mandatory was to try to stick as many of you into showing up as possible.
Oh, okay.
I maybe overdid it. I had a lot of people freaking out, and now I feel guilty. So probably won't say mandatory on any more of these. I'm sorry. All right. Any more questions?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes. Our meeting is technically officially over, but if you have any other questions that maybe you didn't want to say in front of the whole group, you can go ahead and stick around and ask questions. I'm going to set up a survey figuring out when will be a good time to continue having these meetings, and that's all you're going to hear from me today. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Weekend. It was nice to meet you all.
Likewise. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
You too.